So now we're going to look at how a vision needs to engage other people. A team vision has to be for the team. You know, if every member of the team doesn't grow together, then they will grow apart. It's just like in a marriage, when people work together on a common vision, then as they work together towards that common vision, they also come closer together. You know, the relationships will also change and hopefully improve as people work more closely together, supporting one another, encouraging one another forward, and so forth. We have to really understand our why. You know, why are we doing this? And that's where the vision comes in. We know what we are working towards, and that will motivate us. And of course, it's going to impact different people in slightly different ways, but there should be that one common motivating factor. You know, leadership sometimes by some people is taken as a license to do less. That, you know, now they're the leader, they can sit back, they can read the newspaper, they can let other people do the work. But that's not how I understand leadership. For me, leadership is actually a responsibility. You have to do more. Because the leader, they're the one who has to run headfirst into the unknown. They have to put aside their own interests in order to protect other people or to pull us together towards a brighter future. If the actions of the leader are going to inspire others to dream more, to learn more, to grow more, to do more, to become more, then that is the sign of a good leader. You should not have to push somebody to do something. It should be exciting. It should be personally meaningful for them. The vision should pull them forward into action. It should not be that you need to push them in some way. And if, you know, here's a great saying, you know, if you don't give people something to stand for, they will fall for anything. You know, we have to be inspiring the people in our team. If we feel that they are not engaged, whose fault is that? You know, you're the leader. You have to take the responsibility to make some of these things happen. Of course, we're going to find that we have team members at different levels of engagement. Some of them are going to be resistant to our ideas and they just don't want to do it. They've seen other things. They don't want to go down that path. Maybe there's a bit of apathy. Yeah, I don't care really. Maybe there's grudging compliance. Oh, all right, I suppose I'll do it, but only because you're forcing me to. Maybe there's a sense of willing compliance. All right, I suppose I'll give it a try. Maybe there's a sense of enrollment where they feel that they have chosen to do it, and I'll try that. I'll give that a go. Or there's even sometimes a sense of commitment where somebody says, yes, I want to see this happen. I want to make this because I believe in it. That is real commitment. And of course, we're going to have people in our team who are in different places on this scale. And obviously we would love to have all of our team members fully committed. But how do we get there? How do we encourage that? Hopefully this should ring some memories of when we were looking at power and ways of influencing people. That if we only use hard power, and we talk about our position, you have to do this because I'm the boss, you can move somebody from resistance to maybe grudging compliance at best. But if you want to move people from apathy or compliance through to really being committed, you have to engage their heart. And that is going to be all about inspiring them, encouraging them, enthusing them. So, if we want to achieve some great results, we have to carry out a bunch of actions, not all of which are going to result. If we want to carry out a bunch of actions, we need to have a whole range of opportunities and priorities that we're working on. And not all of them are going to be carried forward. If we want to have a bunch of opportunities and priorities, we then need to have a whole selection of possibilities and ideas. because not all of them are going to be turned into opportunities. And if we're going to generate that list of possibilities and have a broad range of things that we can choose from, that is going to be fundamentally based on relationships. And, relationships is the start of any good team project. Engaging people, it is not the same as being an engaging person yourself. The latter, being engaging, could be a comedian. It can be a funny person. It can be a very entertaining person. It can be a nice person. But that does not necessarily mean that the followers are being engaged. If you want to engage people, it requires that you key into what is important for them. It needs that you are very authentic, very real. It means that you care about their opinions and their thoughts and where they are at and what is their personal vision and so forth. You cannot just rely on your position. That's right at the very bottom of this list. Positional power. That's where people just follow you because they have to. But if you want to really engage people, it requires that they respect you, that they trust you, not that they fear you. Then from all of those relationships, we're hoping to generate a whole range of possibilities, of good ideas. Well, ideally, these should be co-invented possibilities. When we're describing, remember future, engage, deliver, when we're describing the future, it's about the possibilities of how we see the situation being different in the future. It needs to be things that lift people's spirits. But here, where we're now co-inventing possibilities, we need to be thinking with them, helping them to also dream, helping them to also be inspiring as well as to be inspired. Maybe some of the questions we need to ask them is, what do you think the future could look like? We, the team, we've between us, whatever process we've used, we've come up with a team vision. But now how do you articulate the future? What do you think the future is going to look like? What would really great look like? If this department was not just ticking along, but it was an amazing department, what would that look like? What would we do differently? How would we be differently? And then you could ask them, all right, how do we get there? You know where we're currently at, and you've just described how you want it to be different in the future. How do we get there? What do we do? Particularly, what are the next steps? Maybe there's different ways that we could get there. In fact, we should be thinking of a whole bunch of different ways of how we get from A to B, and then we can choose the best one, or the best ones, and those then become the opportunities that we want to take forward. So we've got relationships which have generated a whole range of different ideas and possibilities. Now we're filtering it down. Okay, which are the opportunities that we're going to really work on and see if we can get something from these? Napoleon, the French general from a few hundred years ago, he said that leaders are dealers in hope. They're people who will inspire by giving people hope and a sense of what could be in the future. You then get them to co-invent with you. How can that future picture be turned into a reality? None of us can actually see around the corner or over the hill. We don't know what is coming in the future. But a good leader hopefully can somehow articulate that future vision with enough clarity to convince and inspire us to move forward. Even though we don't know exactly what is coming, they can inspire us towards something else. And so hopefully we can take from that range of different possibilities and ideas, we can then say, all right, these are the opportunities that we see possibly leading us towards that future. And amongst all of those opportunities, some of them we're going to turn into actions. Now, when you, as the leader, are trying to actually turn opportunities into actions, it's important that you make what are called big requests. Don't just say, oh, well, we need this and it's difficult. So, okay, if you can manage this bit, that would be great. That's fine. But if you want to inspire people, make big requests of them. You can say, oh, we need this to happen. This is a really big thing, but I believe in you. I think you can do this. I want you to take on this. And, put your faith in them. Find out what is holding them back if they're not keen to take on these big requests. Maybe you can ask them, why not? What's holding you back? Is it a lack of resources? What can I do to help with that? You can actually practice doing it, with your team. Make bigger requests of people. You probably love it when your boss says to you, hey, I trust in you. I believe in you. I think you can do more than you're currently doing. I want to see this, this, and this from you. And, they're really asking you to step up. Often we really enjoy that when we realize that people, they believe in us. And so I would encourage you to make big requests of your staff. So we can ask them what's holding them back, and ultimately we're going to be trying to engage people. And it needs to be engaging them. It's not just telling them, I want you to do this, and getting them to report back, I did this. No, it's engaging them. It's getting them to feel that they are a part of it, that they can see where they fit in it, that it's something that is inspiring. It's something that has energy about it. Of course, in this process of engaging other people, it is very useful to make sure that you're getting feedback. Because, there may be quite a difference between what you intended when you were inspiring and moving people forward. There may be a big difference between what you were hoping for and what they actually do. And you need to be getting the feedback as to what has actually been done, what has resulted from this vision. And of course, some people, some of us are more task orientated and some of us are more relationship orientated. But this process of engaging people, it needs to be both at the same time. It's got to be relational, because if you want to engage people, you can't just engage them as robots or as machines. You have to understand them. You have to share your heart with them and understand their heart. But at the same time, it's not just about relationships and that everybody's happy with one another. There's also the process of, we're doing this in order to achieve a task. Let's move forward on that task. It has to be both task and relationship. And there's this concept of managing your shadow. Some leaders, they light up. The energy that they bring into a situation, it lights things up, and that encourages other people. It dominates the culture of that team. When there's an encouraging, inspiring, enthusiastic leader, that light is great. But not all leaders are like that. Some leaders actually bring a shadow, and actually it's important for us to recognize where our shadow is. There are areas where we don't enthuse, we don't bring energy, we don't bring that positive spirit that we're hoping to. And it's actually important to know as leaders where we don't inspire, where we are bringing a shadow, and we have to watch for that. And because we're going to be dampening people's spirits in that area. So get feedback, find out where am I as a leader doing a grand job, and where do I need to pull back and let somebody else take over on some other things. There are, in fact, many areas where vision can be damaged or hindered. The devil is going to do stuff to try and distract us from good work. Whenever there is something good to be done, there are always forces that are trying to make sure it doesn't happen. Because if you're trying to change a system of injustice, well, there's going to be people fighting to try and keep that system in place because it keeps them in power. Whenever we're trying to do something good, there will be a force against it. Some people will be quite happy with how things are. They will just want to keep the status quo. They don't want to see things change. Some people are going to give you 12 reasons why your grand vision is not going to work. I've seen it before. It's never going to happen. Blah, blah, blah. Some people will predict, this is going to be a failure. This is going to be a total waste of resources. It's going to be embarrassing. Da, da, da. We need to be, as leaders, we need to be people who expect trouble to come. But there are things that we can do to counter that. There's a chap called Dan Sutherland who wrote a book called Transitioning. It's a very good book, all about developing vision and selling it to your church. And he said, you need to talk to your staff, talk to your people, and say to them, what motivates you to work here? And what might increase your motivation? Because if the people in your team really feel that they're being listened to and that you are actively doing something to help them engage more, then they are more likely to be on your side, and they will help to overcome these troubles when they come. Similarly, you could ask, well, what demotivates you about working here? What might another organization offer that would make you leave here? If you as the leader can understand these things, you've got more chance of keeping these people on board and really understanding what it is that makes them tick. If you want to engage them, you have to understand them. And again, coming back to Future Engage Deliver, FED, do you remember the future picture is looking at this and saying, well, okay, we understand if we want to generate results, we need a lot of actions, which means we need even more opportunities, which means we need loads of possibilities and ideas, which is going to come from a big, solid base of relationships. Well, we can actually look at this from a different angle and think about the different energies that are at work here. To get great results from good actions, that's about physical energy. And we need to make those big requests that we talked about. If we're trying to generate opportunities and turn it into actions, that's going to be a bunch of planning and strategizing. It's about intellectual energy. And so we need to use our good sense and wisdom, maybe with a little dash of the Holy Spirit as well. When we're trying to think about opportunities and possibilities and that whole area, it's ideas, it's dreams, it's what's described as spirit energy. And so at that stage, we need to be infusing other people with a lot of passion, helping them to see, why are we doing what we're doing? The more energy there is, the more passion there is at that stage, the more likelihood is they're going to come up with a bunch of good ideas. And fourthly, when you're trying to turn relationships into ideas, that's going to happen if you're engaging people emotionally. And if they recognize that you are trying to bring a light into the team, not cast a shadow. And you can talk to them about how you fit and where you fit in things, but you need to be engaging them at an emotional level, so that they know that you have their best interests at heart and that you're wanting the best from them, so that the best for the team can come about. And then people are most likely to engage with you in your vision.